Okay, so in chapter 236, Gojo Satoru, the self-proclaimed Honored One, died after seemingly getting ahead of Sukuna after he used a nuclear side to hollow purple, getting his reverse curse technique back and sped up, and was on a Black Flash app. And he went from that to getting low diffed and getting killed off screen by Sukuna, and a lot of people are confused on how this could even happen. Especially when Sukuna seemingly was unable to use domain application and reverse curse technique, which was slowed down significantly according to Akari, and even though it wasn't said, it was implied that he didn't have much curse energy left, so using this curse technique was seemingly out of the question. But I'll be trying to explain what exactly happened. Keep in mind I'm going off of the leaks and the translations we received from Miyamura and from the JJK Reddit page, so things could change, so take this information with a grain of salt. Alright, so getting into how Sukuna could cut Gojo with his curse technique if he had Infinity on, well, it's implied the entire time Sukuna was actually fighting and using Cleave and Dismantle on Gojo and had Magaraga adapting to Infinity. Sukuna was actually studying and observing how he could manipulate his curse technique to cut through space and time itself, similar to Magaraga. So in a sense, you could say that Magaraga was Sukuna's sensei in this fight, because it's explained by Sukuna that the first time Magaraga began his adaptation in the first phase to adapt to Gojo's Infinity, it altered the nature of its curse energy to complete the process. And unfortunately for Sukuna, he isn't able to copy this form of adaptation by Magaraga, since even for him, altering the nature of your curse energy is impossible to do. However, in the second stage of Madaraga's adaptation, like when we saw Madaraga use Cleave and Dismantle or just our regular curse energy infused slash, depending on your general interpretation of if you think Madaraga can use the curse techniques of his users, or at least replicate it, because that was never really fully explained. It was likely in this moment, Sukuna understood how he could make Cleave and Dismantle cut through Gojo's Infinity all on his own. Because it said that Madaraga was able to cut Gojo's arm off because Madaraga's slash wasn't like Sukuna's regular slash, at least it didn't work in the same way. Because Madaraga expanded the target of the technique, or well, what the slash targeted, and it wasn't Gojo himself but the space in the world Gojo occupied. Because if you remember, while Infinity takes the infinite amount of space between two or more objects and divides it to an infinite number of times to make Gojo untouchable, it doesn't remove Gojo from the space itself. So it's like Gojo is in his own little fortress, only instead of Sukuna cutting through the fortress, he just went underneath, or rather inside the fortress, if that makes any sense. If that doesn't make any sense, just think of the story of the Trojan horse. A group of soldiers use a fake horse to sneak inside the fortress to defeat their enemies. And that's essentially what Sukuna did by using Madaraga's method of his slash attack as a blueprint to get around Infinity. And this methodology of him goading Madaraga into slashing Gojo, and the way that he just reacted to it make a lot more sense, because it was probably in this moment Sukuna had realized that he had run. And yeah, after Sukuna had realized this, well, essentially Gojo's fate was sealed. Because as Angel said at the beginning of this fight in chapter 225, the moment Sukuna found a way to deal with Gojo's Limitless with a method outside of domain application, then Gojo would lose. And lose he did, if I may say, in just the worst way possible. But Alex, how could Sukuna do this, and why did he wait until he was cornered and almost died to Hollow Purple to cut Gojo down? Well, the only plausible explanation I have for this is while Hikari said Sukuna was unable to use domain application, he never said anything about Sukuna not being able to use his curse technique. And it's entirely possible that by Sukuna improving his own curse technique and changing the way it worked, he may retreat the amount of curse energy that would be needed to use to Cleave and Dismantle while making it strong enough to one-tap Gojo, and decided to use it in a moment where he knew for sure Gojo would let his guard down. Because we already saw Gojo doing this before when he won the domain clash. In fact, his mind instantly went to saving Megami instead of focusing in on the battle, and realistically he just got too confident thinking that he had won. And that's how Madaraga was able to get the drop on him and ended up adapting to his domain expansion. So essentially, Sukuna used Gojo's overconfidence in himself and his love for Megami to his advantage. But hopefully we get a full explanation from Gege, because the fan base is pretty divided on this, especially with how the chapter was written in a way that Gojo went out. I mean, killing off your #1 ranked character in the post-abort of the series was a brave move on Gege, but the way it was executed is honestly giving me Madara and Attack on Titan vibes. But let me know, what do you guys think of all of this in the comment section below. If you liked the video, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.